depending of the stage of your journey, cutting cords is a part of it, right? Because everything that is placed out there for us to grab onto and use and do all the means, because we just want to be done with the work. But realistically, using, like, you know, hand scissors and cutting, because I used to do that. Now I shake it off or I dust it off, you know, whatever works for you. But understand that true cutting of the cords isn't necessarily, you know, taking scissors or just whatever you're doing and just disconnecting. It's not that. A disconnecting of the cord, true cutting of the cords means doing the work, particularly regarding heavily embedded attachments. Those are the ones that you have to do the work. And a lot of that work is not, you know, just forgiveness for the person. It's forgiveness of self, and it goes deep. One layer could be, you know, self-esteem, but another layer could be trauma or attachment. Okay, then why are you attached? It could be lead back to your family. And then that's dealing with mother wounds, father wounds, familial ties, ancestral ties. Like, bro, the work and layers can really branch off before truly a true heavily embedded connection with someone looks like it's just this face value thing, but in reality it's like this one. So understand that you can disconnect cords. Particularly, it's good for the day, shaking off the energy, cutting whatever cords or attachments that have happened, because it happens. And some people get easily attached more than others. Kids are a really good example that they get easily attached, like energy attaches to them very easily. Not every kid, but it's a very good example that most kids do get attached quite easily, which is why it's important that you shake them off and cleanse their energy. But that this video, different time, different place. That being said, I'm saying this because I saw a video about cutting cords, and I remember during my journey, I would do that. I would take the scissors and da-da-da. When I tried to cut a really embedded cord, that shit caused me to get into a fetal position and cry in agony. One, because I was trying to disconnect the cord that I wasn't truly ready to disconnect. Two, I hadn't did the internal work that would be required for me to truly disconnect this cord. And three, not even sure if there is a three, but generally speaking, I just didn't know that when you are or have an embedded attachment with someone energetically, it's energy. It's not a piece of string. That shit is particularized. It is molecule, soul level type stuff. And disconnecting from that is not just a physical aspect. It requires a mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual disconnect. And all of those, you know, broad layers have variables and intertwined branches. So to truly disconnect, you have to do the work first from heavily embedded attachments. You have to do the work first. How you can do the work first? Let's do it. Let's do it. Not the goal of this video, but let's go ahead and do it. Not that I ever have fucking goals. I just fucking turn on the camera when spirit tells me to, because I'm a spirit follower. Alright, I'm in my bed, so make it work for me, alright? Alright, listen here. When you are truly have a heavily embedded attachment, you're going to want to figure out what that is. In my case, I've done a shit ton of work. So I'm going to go ahead and try and find a cord, and then you're going to watch me. Okay. Find one that I can actually disconnect. All right, so I did find one. If you're a beginner, this might, and by beginner, I mean if you're in the earlier stages of a spirituality, this video might help. But this requires you to truly, truly trust your intuition and really, like, don't push yourself. If you start to try and disconnect the cord, but you haven't did the internal work or the layers for it, and you can kind of feel a tug or just a deep agony or just really deep wound type of sensation, I would breathe through that. And at there, for you, I would say maybe ask yourself, what work do I need to do to be able to disconnect this from whoever it is that you're thinking about, or whatever it is that you're feeling? And the first thing that comes to your brain is that's what you need to do. That's what you need to write down. And you may not be able to do it at that moment, but know that that's what needs to be worked on. And maybe things in your life are going to start working towards that, for that completion. Okay. And then I would stop there. That was a breath for you guys. If you're in the middle stages of this, which means that you've kind of already started to do the inner work, and you feel like you're ready to disconnect, there might be a slight disconnect between what you want and what your soul is truly ready for. So if you do this and you start to feel like you've done the disconnect and it's not agony, it's not pain, you can feel that it's kind of pushing away, understand though that there might be a layer where it tries to reattach. Right after you cut it, it might reattach, and you might feel that. A way to recognize whether or not you feel that is, can you take a deep and feel relief within what you've done? If there feels like a choppy or there's pressure on your chest, then more than likely you have done the work and there is a layer, or maybe think of it like an intertwined kind of rope, and you've broken off one piece of that rope, but there's still lots of other disconnected strings that are connected with that rope that are still intertwined, right? You've broken one, but you still got some more to go before the rope completely breaks. I would, again, ask yourself, what work do I need to focus on within myself to keep continuing breaking this connection? And then write that down, and your life will probably start working in your favor in that way. Take a deep breath. And understand, good job you. I've made it to that point before, and it's frustrating to feel like I've done all this work and I'm still attached. I'm still feeling this way. I still have more work to do before I can truly be free and have this relief. Yes. Take a deep breath. Got this. That is for you. Keeping it moving. Now, there's going to be a stage between in the middle and truly ready for the cord to be completely disconnected if you're doing the work, blah, 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 energetically, okay? Like not candles, not whatever. Inner work is what is going to be your disconnection scissors, okay? I don't really have that space for you. So if you're in that in-between of, you know, what I just said and what I'm about to do the same thing. Just find your sweet spot, okay? All right, for me, I have a sister, and I am vibrationally raising all the time. And that is not a shrug or some type of flex on any capacity. It's actually a really complicated and bittersweet thing, because it means that I can align with people and then quickly unalign with them. And it makes it very hard for me to stick with people, or people to be able to stick with me. They just won't, and I can't. In this case, me and my sister have finally hit a point where our alignment is no longer in the same space. And that saddens me, because we worked so hard to even get into alignment. And then once now we found alignment, we now have to separate. That is an awareness that I have made, and I understood it. Because this has been my life, it's very easy for me to know when I'm about to be out of alignment with someone, because there are patterns that show up every time, and I understand it. At a certain space, I realized that it was about to be time, and instead of trying to hold on to it or reducing myself back into that so I can stay in alignment with them, so that means somebody else does this too. Hey, me and you both. But I've done it so many times, and I've realized the pattern that now I'm not doing that. It keeps me stuck, and time doesn't wait for you. So as time is continue going and you're getting older and you still feel stuck, all that time could have been used to move forward, and you don't know. Moving forward allows this person to move forward, and it's just the fucking truth. And eventually, if it's meant to be, the alignment will come back in a better space. That might be for whoever's in the in-between, is what I'm feeling. If you're in the in-between, that's kind of where you are working through. Like I said, use your own kind of whatever for that. Instincts or intuition. All right, so I'm aware of this with my sister. I realized we fell out of alignment. Now, you may be wondering, why would I disconnect the cord? It is because I'm not disconnecting a cord with my sister. I'm disconnecting whatever version me and her connected on. And I'm going to release that. I'm going to let it go. And the moment that I realized that it was a situation that wasn't going to be beneficial for us, that I realized that vibrationally we were just no longer in alignment, that's okay. I said okay and stopped talking to her. One, because she crossed a boundary for me, which is what did it. But I already felt it before, but I was still trying to hold on to it. And I should have just, once I realized it, I should have fucking just stopped and said, like, just stop talking for a little bit. Even told her, hey, energy's looking a little wacky. Let's pause, right? That's what I should have done. But obviously that's not what was meant to happen. So keep it moving. Breathing, because it isn't going to be easy for me to do this. And I'm doing this as a way to show it, right? I talk about a lot of the times about energy work and all these things, but I find it difficult to show you because it's fucking energy. It's tangible. It's tangible, but only if you're in the space to 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 believe, trust, and do it. So I am disconnecting with the version that me and her have within whatever attachment right now. I've had to stop talking because she crossed a boundary, and I've had to disconnect myself, and she in no way is trying to reconnect with me, and she is not trying to whatever, and that's okay. And that's an acceptance of, I see where we are. I see whatever it is, and I don't know what you're feeling or what you're thinking, but this doesn't work for me. So why, when I looked for a cord, hers came up? It's because I'm ready to disconnect myself. And this is my sister, and I don't even have a lot of family, like, at all. She's probably, like, really the last one. And I mean that. That's not like some thingy. I have a child, so but as far as my, like, mother having children and my sibling and above, she's it for me. I do have another sister, but different kind of conversation. You don't need to know all of that. But that's not an attachment that I need to address. My sister is. Both sisters, but you know what I'm talking about. Come on now. All right. So in this case, Spirit told me then go ahead and say it since I already fucking did all that bullshit. So basically, I don't have a really good close connection. I have two sisters. Now, are there other siblings out there? Yeah, there is. But I only have 2 sisters. That's it. One really bad disconnection, weren't really great, didn't really grow up with her. We've bonded over spirituality, but for the most part, I don't really have the same kind of attachment, the same kind of connection that I have with this one because I grew up with her. We went through things together. My bond that I created is with her. Okay, there we go. I shared. All right. In this case, such a long video. Jakara, keep going. Don't get distracted. In this case, I have an attachment with her. The thing is, I've never actually detached from her from our previous interactions from childhood or whatever. I know that sounds crazy, and not everyone has to do that, but I do. So in this case, what I'm detaching from is an older version and a connection that no longer serves me or her. And I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not exiting out my sister, you know what I mean? In terms of that I'm going to be like, oh, I don't have a sister. I only have one sister left. No, I'm just detaching the cord between her and me. And that does mean severing some type of soul familial tie. But me and her have been sisters before in different dimensional lifetimes. We've been mermaids together. We have been, Spirit's giving me like Egyptian, but not Egyptian times, but the style in which Egyptian times was. Anyways, Spirit, I don't need the backdrop past life right now. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, but just, I'm going to lose focus. We were scientists. Was that necessary? They said yes. 4, understanding why the disconnection needs to happen. Betrayal, past life, close. But apparently they're giving me to me like I was like a younger sister and she was older, and I guess when we were younger she betrayed me. Extremely smart people, and she stole whatever my idea was. Grew up to be scientists together, and I never said anything or never did anything about it. So there's like a slight betrayal. Now, I'm not sure if I betrayed her or she betrayed me, because the next thought was of a situation in where my sister, basically how she treated me growing up as sisters, and it wasn't very nice. We don't even remember that much about each other as kids because we really never intertwine. And I know, right, it shows up on a physical level. It's just not being on the same page or not liking the same things. But Spirit is letting me know that it also stems from past life servicing in a physical representation. So this disconnect is not just on this lifetime. It's a disconnect. It's a disattachment. It is letting go and releasing, right? Because I've done the layers of work to let go of all of that. And if there is a new attachment or bond that is created between me and her, it is going to be through healthier versions of ourselves. And in the same time that I'm disconnecting this cord, I'm also letting go and healing our past, present, future type of connection, and healing that, so that if we show up in different dimensions later on, this won't be something that we won't have the same pattern show up or have physical representations of past things due to healing. That work is why you're disconnecting attachments. It's not just for this physical self. You do the work to be able to disconnect the attachment, to be able to disconnect further connections with that past trauma or situations that created a shadow type of environment and or physical representation. All right. If you made it this far, it's not just because you align with what I'm saying. It is because you can understand the principles in which I'm speaking on. And if you made it this far and you're like, what the fuck is she talking about? That just means you're meant to hear it, and it may show back up for you in a different person in a different way. So let's do it. What I'm going to do, Spirit is telling me, kind of, is I already started because I naturally just move with energy. So when I did this in the previous minutes before, that was me starting to prime the connection. So think of the person that you want to disconnect with. Now, again, if you do this and you have not done the inner work, let's do a little tester. All right? Shit. I mean, you can make a fool of myself. Let's do it. All right. You can use a pendulum, but I'm using my body. My body is a very good pendulum. And so you can do a tester, okay? For me, simple. A yes is a hand up, and I just, whatever my body does. And then a down is a no, whatever my body does. Okay? Simple. Am I wearing glasses? I know that seems like thing, but I just want you to do a tester. Do something that you can verbalize. I do not ask if my name is Jakara because Spirit has made it very clear to me, although my name is Jakara in this lifetime, anytime I ask is my name Jakara, it gives me a no. And I can't handle that type of fucking bullshit that I'd have to introspect and deal with. So no, we won't do that. All right, am I sitting on the bed? That does happen. Because I sometimes can get in the way. Because my hand wanted to drop into no. And I said, what the fuck are you doing right now? I am sitting on the bed. This is why I don't ask if my name is Jakara, okay? Because there are certain belief systems that I have that keep my brain from saying yes because of spiritual understandings and whatnot. But can you please work with me, Spirit? Am I cross-legged on the bed? There we go. Words matter. Move on. All right. Am I ready to disconnect with my sister? If I disconnect, will it reconnect? So apparently this video was about how to be ready to disconnect. Because apparently I'm not. I found it. I saw it. I felt it, right? I mean, it's not like I had planned to disconnect. So I can see why it's a no right now for me. Is there a cord that I can disconnect right now? Are there really any cords to disconnect? Okay, so it just means that that's not time for me. And I don't care if I'm trying to show you or not. I'm not about to put agony on myself because I meant what the fuck I said. I've done it, and that pain is absolutely horrendous. And then it reattached, and I've had to do it like several times. Now, mind you, if that's the path you want to go, because I sometimes do it just to kind of fast track it, but that shit is absolutely agonizing. Well, I hope this video was somehow helpful to you, but even if it wasn't, it was helpful to me. Have a good night.